The massive chamber floated in the void of space, its curved walls made of transparent metal that showed the stars beyond. Inside, representatives from 47 different species sat in their designated seats, arranged in circles that rose toward the ceiling. Some had fur, others had scales, and a few existed as clouds of gas contained in special suits. They all waited in uncomfortable silence. Chancellor Vrex stood at the central podium. His reptilian skin gleamed under the bright lights as his tail swished with irritation. In his clawed hand, he held a small data tablet that displayed a message. He had read it 3 times already, but the words remained the same. His voice echoed through the chamber as he spoke. The human delegation has sent their final communication. As of today, Earth withdraws from all Galactic Council activities. They are recalling every human representative, technician, and worker from Council space. This withdrawal is immediate and complete, the chamber erupted. Delegates jumped from their seats, shouting in dozens of different languages. The translation devices struggled to keep up with the chaos. Vrex slammed his fist on the podium, calling for order, but nobody listened. This had never happened before. In 3,000 years of Council history, no species had ever simply walked away. Across the station, Ambassador Dae-sung packed the last of his belongings into a simple gray case. His office, once filled with gifts from various alien species and awards for diplomatic service, now stood empty. The walls showed pale squares where pictures had hung for decades. He moved slowly, methodically, his face showing no emotion. His assistant, a young human woman named Ji-won, stood by the door watching him. "Sir, are you sure about this?" Ji-won asked quietly. 83 years of cooperation gone in a single day. What if they retaliate? Dae-sung smiled, though there was no warmth in it. "They won't retaliate, Ji-won. They need us too much. They just don't know it yet." He closed the case with a soft click. "Besides, this isn't sudden. We've been preparing for this moment for 20 years. 20 years ago, Dae-sung had arrived at this station full of hope. Earth had just made contact with the Galactic Council, and humanity celebrated joining a community of advanced civilizations. But the celebration ended quickly. The Council assigned humans to the lowest tier of membership, what they called probationary status. Humans could observe but not vote. They could work but received restricted access to technology. They could trade but only under terms that heavily favored Council species. Dae-sung had filed complaints, submitted proposals, and attended countless meetings. Every request for equal treatment received the same response. In time, when you prove yourselves worthy. But worthy of what? Humans maintained the Council's communication networks, operated dangerous mining facilities that other species refused to approach, and solved technical problems that baffled alien engineers. Still, the Council refused to grant them voting rights or share advanced technology. The final insult came 6 months ago. A human colony ship had been attacked by pirates near Council space. 30 families died. When Dae-sung requested Council military assistance to hunt the pirates, Chancellor Vrex denied the request. Council resources cannot be spent on probationary member issues, he had said. Yet when a Council merchant vessel was attacked the following week, a full battle group deployed within hours. That was when Earth's government made the decision. If the Council would not treat humans as equals, humanity would leave. But they would not leave in weakness. Orders went out through secret channels. Human workers began quietly documenting every system they maintained, every process they managed, every problem they solved. Then they started preparing their replacements to fail. Now, as Dae-sung walked through the station's corridors for the last time, he could already see signs of trouble. A maintenance panel hung open, wires exposed and sparking. A navigation display flickered with error messages. A water recycling unit dripped steadily onto the floor. The human technicians who normally fixed these problems were gone. The Council staff who were supposed to replace them stood around looking confused, holding tools they barely knew how to use. At the docking bay, hundreds of humans lined up to board transport ships. Families carried children and luggage. Engineers pushed carts loaded with personal belongings. They moved in organized groups, following departure schedules that had been planned down to the minute. Council security guards watched nervously, unsure if they should try to stop the exodus or simply let it happen. Captain Hee-jin stood at the airlock of her transport vessel, checking names against her passenger manifest. She had flown cargo routes for the Council for 15 years, moving supplies between stations and colonies. Her ship was old but reliable, maintained by her own hands when council mechanics said repairs were impossible. Now she would fly it home packed with human workers eager to leave this place behind. "Captain, we're ready for departure," her co-pilot called from the bridge. "All passengers are aboard." The other ships report the same. Hyejin nodded and activated her communication system. She entered the priority channel that connected her to the council control tower. "This is Transport 7-4 requesting departure clearance." Silence. Then a panicked voice responded. "Transport 7-4, please delay departure. The council requests that all human personnel remain until proper transition procedures can be established." "Request denied," Hyejin said calmly. "We have already transitioned all required documentation to your personnel. Our contracts have been fulfilled. We are leaving, but the systems, we need time to learn. You cannot just abandon your posts." Hyejin felt a flash of anger. Abandon their posts? Humans had manned these posts for decades while being treated as servants. They had fixed what was broken, improved what was failing, and received no credit for their work. And now when they chose to leave, suddenly it was abandonment? She kept her voice steady as she replied. "We gave you 83 years control. That was enough time. Transport 7-4 is departing on schedule. Clear us for launch or we will clear ourselves." The channel went dead. Moments later, clearance codes flashed across her display. Hyejin engaged the engines and felt the familiar vibration as her ship came to life. Through the viewport, she saw other human vessels doing the same. One by one, they detached from the station and moved into formation. 15 cargo ships, 23 personal transports, and 7 maintenance craft, all heading home. Back in the council chamber, Chancellor Vrex watched through the massive windows as the human fleet departed. The ships moved in perfect synchronization, their lights twinkling like stars as they accelerated away from the station. Behind him, the shouting had finally stopped. The delegates sat in stunned silence, beginning to understand what they had lost. A junior administrator approached the podium, his 4 eyes blinking rapidly with stress. "Chancellor, we have reports coming in from across council space. Human workers at the communication relay stations are leaving. Mining operations in the Kilos belt are shutting down. The maintenance crews at the jump gates are boarding transport ships. This is happening everywhere simultaneously." Vrex's tail twitched. "How many humans worked for the council?" The administrator checked his tablet. "Approximately 42,000 across all facilities and operations. They managed 37% of our logistics network, maintained all deep space communication relays, and operated the mining facilities in hazardous regions that other species cannot safely access." 37%, Vrex repeated slowly. He had never paid attention to the exact numbers before. Humans were always just there in the background, doing the work that needed doing. Nobody important. Nobody who mattered. Except now they were gone. And suddenly the council had a very large problem. As Dae Sung's transport ship jumped to faster-than-light speed, he recorded one final message for the council. It would be delivered to Chancellor Vrex's personal terminal in exactly 1 hour. He sat in his quarters looking directly into the camera and spoke the words he had rehearsed 1,000 times. "Chancellor Vrex, members of the Galactic Council, for 83 years, humanity has sought partnership with your organization. We offered our skills, our labor, and our loyalty. In return, you offered us restrictions, limitations, and the promise that someday, if we proved ourselves worthy, we might earn what other species received automatically. We have decided that someday is not coming. We came to you seeking partnership. You offered us servitude. We respectfully decline. Earth withdraws from all council affairs. Do not contact us. We will contact you if and when we choose. Farewell." The message ended. Dae Sung sat back in his chair and allowed himself a small smile. Behind him, through the viewport, the stars streaked past as the ship carried him home. Ahead lay Earth, and beyond it the frontier regions the council had forbidden humans to explore. Those regions would be explored now. Without permission, without restrictions, humanity was free, and the galaxy would soon learn what that meant. 3 months had passed since the withdrawal. Dr. Bora stood in the viewing gallery of Earth's largest orbital shipyard, watching construction crews work on vessels that would have seemed impossible just a year ago. The ships gleamed silver against the black of space, their designs unlike anything the Galactic Council used. They were human designs, built from human ideas, powered by technology the Council had never imagined. Bo-Ra had spent 25 years working in secret research facilities. While the Council restricted what technology humans could access, they could not restrict human curiosity. Every limitation became a challenge. Every restriction sparked innovation. The Council gave humans old, inefficient equipment and expected them to be satisfied. Instead, humans studied those machines, understood them, and built something better. "Doctor, the military delegation has arrived," her assistant announced. Bora turned to see Admiral Tae Yang entering the gallery, followed by several officers in dark blue uniforms. The Admiral was an older man with gray hair and sharp eyes that missed nothing. He had been one of the first to advocate for human independence, arguing that the Council would never give humanity what it deserved. "Admiral," Bora greeted him with a nod. "You wanted to see the progress yourself." "I did," Tae Yang said, moving to the window. He stared at the ships for a long moment. "How many can we build per month?" 8 completed vessels, Bora replied. 12 if we push the crews to double shifts. But that risks quality issues. Quality over quantity, the Admiral agreed. "What about the shield technology?" Bora smiled. This was her favorite part. "We finished testing last week. The adaptive shields exceed all expectations. They analyze incoming weapons fire and adjust their frequency to counter it. The more an enemy attacks, the stronger the shields become. Council shields are static, fixed at one frequency. Ours learn and evolve." Tae Yang raised an eyebrow. "Evolve? You mean they improve during combat?" "Exactly. In our simulations, a single ship withstood sustained fire from an entire Council battle group. By the end of the test, the weapons were completely ineffective. The shields had adapted to every attack pattern." One of the younger officers spoke up. "Doctor, how is this possible? The Council has had thousands of years to develop their technology. How did we surpass them in just 2 decades?" Bora considered the question. "The Council stopped innovating centuries ago. They perfected their technology and then stopped asking if it could be better. They gave us their old equipment and told us it was the best available. We looked at it and saw only problems to solve. Every limitation forced us to think differently. We could not copy their technology, so we had to invent our own." "And the new jump drive?" Tae Yang asked. "The reports seemed too good to be true." "They are true," Bora confirmed. She pulled up a holographic display showing a star map. Council ships travel through jump gates, fixed points in space that they built long ago. This limits their routes and makes them predictable. Our quantum fold drive does not need gates. We can jump from any point to any other point within our range. Travel time is reduced by 70%. The Admiral studied the map. "Captain Hyejin tested this, correct?" She did. Her ship, the Taekwon, made the journey from Earth to the frontier zone in 6 hours. The same trip would take a Council vessel 3 weeks using the gate network. Hyejin reported no issues. The drive performed perfectly. Far from Earth, in the region called the Frontier Zone, Commander Jinwoo stood on the observation deck of humanity's first independent colony. Through the reinforced windows, he could see the planet below. New Sol, they had named it, a world with blue oceans and green continents that looked remarkably like Earth. The Council had declared this entire region off-limits, claiming dangerous spatial anomalies made it too risky for colonization. Jinwoo had spent 6 months mapping those anomalies. They were not dangerous at all, just unusual. Pockets of concentrated gravity, bands of radiation, areas where normal sensors gave strange readings. For Council species who relied on their standard equipment, these anomalies were frightening. For humans who built custom tools for each situation, they were merely puzzles to solve. "Commander, the mining team has filed their weekly report," his second-in-command said, handing him a datapad. Jinwoo scanned the numbers and felt satisfaction. The asteroid belt near New Sol contained rare elements that the Council desperately needed for their technology. Elements they had told humans were impossible to mine safely. Yet here, human mining crews extracted them by the ton using modified equipment and creative techniques. "Production is up 20% from last month," Jinwoo noted. "Any accidents?" "None. The new safety protocols are working well. We have had 0 injuries in 45 days. Jinwoo smiled. The Council had miners too, but they worked in safe, easy locations and still had frequent accidents. Human miners worked in the most dangerous places in the galaxy and came home every night. It was about attitude. The Council treated workers as replaceable. Humans treated each worker as valuable. That difference showed in the results. A communication alert sounded. Jin Woo accepted the incoming transmission and saw Captain Heejin's face appear on the screen. She looked tired but excited. Behind her he could see the bridge of the Taekwon, crew members working at their stations. "Commander Jin Woo, I have completed the survey of Sector 18. You will want to see this." Heejin sent the data and Jin Woo watched as his display filled with scan results. Sector 18 was an area the Council had marked as uninhabitable, too close to a dying star and too far from any useful resources. The scans told a different story. 3 planets capable of supporting life. Rich deposits of metals and minerals. A stable region perfect for expansion. They had no idea, Jin Woo said softly. They never bothered to look closely. They marked it as useless and moved on. "That appears to be the pattern, Commander," Hyojin replied. "Every forbidden zone we have surveyed has turned out to be valuable. The Council did not avoid these regions because they were dangerous. They avoided them because they were lazy. Their scanners gave unusual readings, so they assumed the worst and never investigated further. Or perhaps, Jin Woo suggested, they kept us away deliberately. If humans found these resources, we would not need the Council. We would be independent. Maybe that was what they feared all along. Back in Council space, things were falling apart. The communication relay in Sector 9 had been offline for 2 weeks. Council technicians could not repair it, because they did not understand how humans had upgraded the system. Without that relay, 6 colonies were cut off from the main network. Trade ships could not navigate safely. Messages took days to arrive instead of hours. Chancellor Vrex sat in his office reading report after report of similar failures. The logistics network that moved goods across Council space was breaking down. Shipments were delayed. Supplies were lost. Nobody knew how to fix the automated systems that humans had maintained. The Council had become dependent on human expertise without realizing it, and now they were paying the price. A knock on his door interrupted his reading. "Enter," he called. His security chief entered, a tall being with blue skin and 4 arms. "Chancellor, we have received intelligence reports about human activities in the frontier zone. They have established at least 7 colonies. They are mining resources in regions we declared off limits. And their ships? Their new ships are capable of speeds we cannot match." Vrex felt his tail go rigid. "How is this possible? We restricted their access to advanced technology. We controlled what they could learn. Apparently, Chancellor, we did not control their ability to think. While we gave them old equipment and expected gratitude, they were learning, adapting, innovating. They took our restrictions and turned them into advantages. They built technology we never considered because we never needed to. We had everything handed to us by previous generations. Humans had to earn everything themselves." Vrex stood and walked to his window, looking out at the Council station. He could see maintenance crews working on repairs, moving slowly, arguing over procedures. Human crews had worked quickly and efficiently, solving problems before they became critical. Now everything took 3 times as long and worked half as well. "How long until our infrastructure completely fails?" he asked quietly. 6 months, Chancellor. Perhaps 8 if we are fortunate. After that, we will lose the ability to maintain basic services. The Council will collapse not from war or conquest, but from simple inability to keep our own systems running. Vrex closed his eyes. 3 months ago, he had read the human withdrawal message with contempt. Let them leave, he had thought. They need us more than we need them. How wrong he had been. The galaxy was about to learn a hard lesson about the difference between depending on someone and being needed by them. Fleet Commander Myra stood on the bridge of her flagship, the Eternal Justice, watching the stars streak past through the viewport. Behind her ship, 73 Council vessels moved in formation, the largest battle group assembled in 200 years. She did not want to be here. She did not want to lead this mission. But the Council had given her orders, and she followed orders. Her species, the Kresh, had served the Council military for generations. They believed in honor, duty, and the rule of law, but there was no honor in this mission. Chancellor Vrex wanted her to reclaim human colonies by force, to show the galaxy that the Council could not be defied. It was politics, not strategy. It was pride, not wisdom, and Myra suspected it would end badly. "Commander, we will reach the human colony of New Sol in 2 hours, her navigator reported. The young officer looked nervous. Everyone on the bridge looked nervous. Nobody believed this was a good idea, but nobody dared say so aloud. Myra activated the communication system, broadcasting to all ships in the fleet. All vessels maintain formation. When we arrive, we will deploy in a standard intimidation pattern. Our orders are to convince the humans to abandon their colonies peacefully. If they refuse, we are authorized to use force to remove them. Remember, we are here to restore council authority, not to start a war. The responses came back quickly. Acknowledged. Understood. Ready to proceed. 73 ships, thousands of crew members, all following orders they doubted. Myra wondered what the humans would do. Would they flee? Would they surrender? Or would they fight? Intelligence reports said human ships were fast but lightly armed. The council fleet had overwhelming firepower. This should be simple. On New Sol, Commander Jinwoo received the warning from long-range sensors. A massive council fleet was approaching, clearly heading for his colony. He had expected this. Admiral Tae-yang had predicted the council would eventually try something desperate. Now that prediction was coming true. Sound the alert, Jinwoo ordered. Get all civilians to the shelters. Contact Captain Hai-jin and tell her we need the defense fleet here immediately. And someone get me Ambassador Dae-sung on the line. He needs to know what is happening. His crew moved quickly, efficiently. They had drilled for this scenario dozens of times. Within 10 minutes, civilians were safely underground and the colony's defensive systems were powering up. Shield generators hummed to life. Weapon platforms rotated toward the sky. New Sol might be a young colony, but it was not defenseless. The communication from Earth came through quickly. Ambassador Dae-sung's face appeared on Jinwoo's screen, his expression calm despite the situation. Behind him, Jinwoo could see the bustle of Earth's military command center. Commander, we are tracking the council fleet, Dae-sung said. Captain Hee-jin is already en route with 12 ships. Do not engage unless they fire first. We want a defensive posture, not an aggressive one. Let them make the first mistake. Understood, Ambassador. What if they demand we surrender the colony? Then you politely refuse. This is human territory now. The council has no authority here. Captain Hai-jin's fleet arrived at New Sol 30 minutes before the council ships. 12 human vessels, sleek and modern, positioned themselves in a defensive formation around the colony. Her flagship, the Taekwon, took the center position. She opened a channel to Jinwoo. Commander, we are in position. Shields are at maximum power. Weapons are charged but not locked on targets. We are ready for whatever comes. Good, Jinwoo replied. Remember, we defend only. Do not fire unless fired upon. Understood. Hai-jin out. The council fleet dropped out of faster-than-light travel in perfect formation, 73 ships appearing suddenly in space around New Sol. It was an impressive display of coordination and power. Myra had arranged her vessels to maximize their visual impact, showing the humans exactly how outmatched they were. 73 council warships against 12 human defenders. The message was clear. Myra opened a communication channel. Human vessels, this is Fleet Commander Myra of the Galactic Council Military. You are occupying territory that has been declared off limits by council decree. You must evacuate this colony immediately and return to Earth. You have 1 hour to comply. Captain Hee-jin responded, her voice steady. Fleet Commander Myra, this is Captain Hai-jin of the Human Defense Fleet. New Sol is an independent human colony established in territory that is not under council jurisdiction. We have no obligation to follow council decrees. We will not be evacuating. I suggest you withdraw your forces. Captain, I have 73 warships. You have 12. Do not force me to use them. Commander, quantity is not the same as quality. Please withdraw. This does not need to become violent. Myra felt frustration rising. She had expected fear, maybe defiance, but not this calm confidence. What did these humans know that she did not? Her tactical officer leaned over and whispered, Commander, their shields are active. The energy readings are unusual. I have never seen this configuration before. Explain unusual, Myra demanded. The shields are cycling through multiple frequencies. They are not static like our shields. They seem to be adapting, changing every few seconds. I cannot predict how they will respond to weapons fire. Myra considered this information. Adaptive shields were theoretical technology, something researchers discussed but nobody had successfully built. If humans had actually developed functional adaptive shields, this situation was more complicated than the council realized. She decided to probe their defenses carefully. All ships target the human vessels. Fire warning shots across their bows. Do not hit them. Just show them we are serious. Energy beams lanced out from the council ships, blue streaks of light that passed within meters of the human vessels. It was standard intimidation tactics, meant to show overwhelming force without actually causing damage. The human ships did not move. They held their formation steady and calm. Captain Hyjin, Myra called again. That was your warning. The next volley will target your ships directly. Withdraw now or face the consequences. Commander Myra, Hyjin replied, and now there was steel in her voice. You have fired on human ships. That was a mistake. But we will give you one chance to correct it. Turn your fleet around and leave. If you fire again, we will respond. Myra had run out of patience. The council had sent her to restore their authority, and she would do exactly that. All ships open fire. Disable the human vessels, but try not to destroy them. We want prisoners, not casualties. 73 council warships opened fire simultaneously. Thousands of energy beams and missiles streaked toward the 12 human ships. It should have been overwhelming. It should have ended the fight in seconds. Instead, something impossible happened. The human shields flared bright blue, then shifted to purple, then to a color Myra had no name for. Every single shot that hit the shield simply vanished, absorbed completely. Not deflected, not reduced. Absorbed. And as the council ships continued firing, the human shields grew brighter and stronger. They were learning. They were adapting. They were turning the council's weapons into power for their own defense. Cease fire, Myra shouted. All ships cease fire immediately. The shooting stopped. In the sudden silence, Myra stared at her tactical display. Her entire fleet had fired everything they had at 12 human ships. Not a single human vessel showed any damage. Their shields were at full power, possibly even stronger than before the attack began. This was not just advanced technology. This was technology that surpassed anything the Council possessed by generations. Captain Hyjin's voice came through the communication channel, still calm. Commander Myra, you have attacked human territory without provocation. However, we do not seek conflict. We seek only to be left alone. I am going to give you and your fleet a chance to leave peacefully. Take it. Myra looked around her bridge. Her crew stared at their displays in shock. Her tactical officer was pale. Her weapons chief had stopped giving orders. Everyone understood what had just happened. The Council fleet, the pride of their military, had been rendered completely ineffective by 12 human ships. If the battle continued, they would lose. Badly. All ships, Myra said quietly, prepare to withdraw. We are returning to Council space, one of her officers protested. Commander, our orders were to remove the humans by force if necessary. If we retreat, the Council will see this as failure. If we stay, Myra said sharply, the Council will see this as a massacre. We came here with 73 ships and achieved nothing. The humans have technology we cannot counter. Retreating now is not failure. It is the only sensible option. Now execute my orders. The Council fleet turned and jumped to faster-than-light travel, leaving New Seoul behind. On the Taekwon, Captain Hyjin watched them go. She had not wanted to fight. She had not enjoyed demonstrating human superiority. But the Council had forced her hand, and now they knew the truth. Humans were not the weak species that needed Council protection anymore. They were equals whether the Council accepted it or not. Back in the Council chamber, Chancellor Vrex received Commander Myra's report in silence. The delegates around him sat frozen, processing the impossible news. A full Council battle group, defeated without destroying a single enemy ship. Advanced human technology that rendered Council weapons useless. Colonies established in forbidden zones, defended by forces they could not match. Prime Minister Somi sat in her office on Earth, watching multiple news feeds from across the galaxy. 6 months had passed since humanity severed ties with the Galactic Council. 6 months of watching the Council struggle without human expertise. 6 months of debates about what humanity should do next. The reports painted a clear picture. Council infrastructure continued to decay. Trade routes that humans once maintained now operated at 60% efficiency. Communication relays failed faster than Council technicians could repair them. Medical facilities struggled without human pharmaceutical innovations. The gate network needed maintenance that nobody else knew how to perform. Madam Prime Minister, the daily briefing is ready, her aide announced. Somi nodded and turned off the news feeds. She had a meeting with her senior advisors, including Ambassador Dae Sung and Admiral Tae Yang. These meetings had become tense lately. The two men represented very different views about humanity's future. The conference room was simple but elegant, with a long table and comfortable chairs. Ambassador Dae-sung arrived first, carrying a datapad filled with intelligence reports. Admiral Tae-yang followed, his military uniform perfectly pressed as always. They nodded to each other politely, but the tension between them was obvious. "Gentlemen," Somi began, "we need to make a decision about our relationship with the Council. We have received 17 requests for assistance in the past month alone. They need our help. The question is whether we should give it to them." Admiral Tae-yang spoke first. "With respect, Prime Minister, we should refuse all requests. The Council mistreated humanity for decades. They denied us equality, restricted our access to technology, and refused to help us when we needed them. Now they are suffering the consequences of their own arrogance. Let them learn this lesson fully. And what happens to the innocent people who suffer because of Council failures?" Dae-sung asked. "The workers who cannot get supplies because logistics networks are broken. The families who cannot communicate with loved ones on other worlds. They did not choose the Council's policies. Why should they pay for the leader's mistakes?" "Because," Tae-yang said firmly, "if we help them now, we return to the same situation we left. They will take our assistance, use our expertise, and then go back to treating us as subordinates. We must maintain our position of strength. We must ensure that when we do engage with the Council again, it is as equals, not as servants." Somi listened carefully. Both men made valid points. Tae-yang was right that humanity needed to protect its newfound independence. But Dae-sung was also right that innocent people were suffering. She was about to respond when an urgent alert appeared on her display. Her aide rushed into the room, face pale. "Prime Minister, we have an emergency situation. The Council Science Station in Sector 12 has suffered a catastrophic failure. 300 researchers from multiple species are trapped. They have life support for 6 hours. Council rescue ships cannot reach them in time." The room went silent. Somi pulled up the data on her screen. The science station was studying rare stellar phenomena near a black hole. Something had gone wrong with their power systems. Without power, they had no shields, no engines, no way to escape the gravitational pull that was slowly dragging them closer to the event horizon. "How long would it take human ships to reach them?" Somi asked. Her aide checked the calculations. "Captain Hyejin's fleet is conducting exercises in Sector 10. With our quantum fold drive, she could reach the station in 4 hours. She would have 2 hours to perform the rescue before life support fails." Admiral Tae-yang shook his head. "Prime Minister, this is exactly what I warned about. If we respond to this crisis, we send a message that humanity will always come running when the Council calls. They will expect us to solve all their problems while still refusing to treat us as equals." "Admiral," Dae-sung said quietly, 300 people will die. 300 researchers who have families, friends, lives. They are not responsible for what the Council did to us. Saving them is not about politics. It is about being human." Somi stood and walked to the window, looking out at the blue curve of Earth below. She had been elected to lead humanity into a new era of independence and strength. But what did that mean? Did strength mean letting innocent people die to make a political point? Or did it mean having the power to help and the wisdom to know when help was right? She turned back to face her advisors. "Contact Captain Hyejin. Tell her to proceed to Sector 12 immediately and rescue everyone on that station. We will not negotiate for this. We will not demand concessions. We will simply do what is right." "Prime Minister," Tae-yang protested, but Somi raised her hand. "Admiral, I understand your concerns, but we did not break away from the Council to become like them. We did not fight for independence so we could be cruel when others are weak. We are strong enough to help, and wise enough to know that saving lives is never wrong. Execute my orders." Captain Hyejin received the orders while her fleet was running training exercises. She immediately broke off the exercise and set course for Sector 12. Her crew worked quickly, preparing for a difficult rescue operation. Pulling a damaged station away from a black hole's gravity would require precision flying and perfect timing. The Taekwon and 3 support ships jumped to faster-than-light speed. 4 hours later, they dropped back into normal space near the science station. Hyejin could see the damaged facility through her viewport, spinning slowly as it drifted closer to the black hole. Warning lights blinked across its surface. It looked fragile, barely holding together. "Bridge, what is our time window?" Hyejin asked. "Station life support has 90 minutes remaining, Captain. After that, the gravitational stress will tear the station apart even if life support somehow lasted longer. Understood. All ships begin rescue operations. I want everyone off that station in 70 minutes. Move. The human ships moved into position with practiced efficiency. They extended docking tubes to the station's airlocks. Rescue teams boarded and began evacuating the researchers. 300 people, representing a dozen different species, all terrified but orderly. The human crews moved them quickly but carefully, making sure nobody was left behind. Hee-Jin monitored the operation from her bridge.
Engineering, how close can we get to the black hole safely?
Our shields can handle the gravitational stress for approximately 20 minutes at current distance, Captain. Any closer and we risk structural damage. 20 minutes. That will be enough. Hee-Jin opened a channel to the station. This is Captain Hee-Jin of the human vessel Taekwon. We are evacuating all personnel. Please proceed to the nearest airlock in an orderly fashion. We will get everyone out safely. 68 minutes later, the last researcher was pulled aboard a human ship. Hee-Jin confirmed all vessels had sealed their docking tubes and were ready to move. All ships disengage from the station. Full power to engines. Get us clear of the gravity well. The human ships pulled away from the doomed station, fighting against the black hole's pull. Their advanced engines, more powerful than anything the Council possessed, slowly overcame the gravity. Behind them, the science station broke apart under the stress, its pieces spiraling down into darkness. But everyone aboard was safe. Once they reached safe distance, Hee-Jin opened a communication channel to the Council. Council Emergency Services, this is Captain Hee-Jin. We have successfully evacuated all personnel from the Sector 12 science station. 300 individuals are safe and healthy. We are transmitting coordinates where you can pick them up. Taekwon out, she did not wait for a response. She had delivered her message and completed her mission. The Council would send ships to collect their people. Humanity had done what was right with no conditions and no demands. That simple act would speak louder than any threat or negotiation ever could. In the Council chamber, the news of the rescue spread quickly. The delegates who had been rescued contacted their governments, telling stories of human efficiency and compassion. They described crews who worked tirelessly, ships that defied black hole gravity, and a captain who asked for nothing in return. Some delegates wept openly. Others sat in silence, ashamed of how their government had treated these remarkable people. Councillor Thek stood before the assembly. Members of the Council, today we witnessed something important. Humanity could have let our people die. They had every right to refuse after how we treated them, but they came anyway. They risked their ships and their lives to save people who were not their responsibility. This is the character we failed to recognize. This is the species we tried to keep subordinate. Our pride has cost us dearly, but perhaps it is not too late to change. Chancellor Vrex, watching from his seat, felt something he rarely experienced: shame. The humans had shown more honor in one rescue operation than the Council had shown in 83 years of diplomacy. His policies, his arrogance, his refusal to treat humans as equals had brought the Council to the edge of collapse. And still, when his people needed help, humans came. Perhaps, he thought, it was time to step aside and let others fix the damage he had caused. Perhaps it was time for the Council to learn humility from the species they had underestimated. Perhaps there was still. The neutral station floated at the border between human and Council territories, built specifically for these negotiations. Ambassador Dae-sung walked through its corridors, noting the careful design. Half the station used human construction methods, half used Council techniques. The meeting rooms had furniture sized for both human and alien bodies. The air was filtered to be comfortable for all species. Even the lighting was adjustable. This station represented what the negotiations hoped to achieve: balance, equality, mutual respect. Dae-sung entered the main conference room and found Councillor Thex already waiting. The alien looked older than when Dae-sung had last seen him, stress evident in the way he held himself. Thex had spent the past 3 months organizing these talks, pushing through Council bureaucracy and resistance from hardliners who still refused to accept the new reality. Ambassador Dae-sung, Thex greeted him warmly. "Thank you for coming. I know many on Earth argued against these negotiations." "They did," Dae-sung admitted, taking his seat. "Admiral Tae-yang believes we should maintain complete independence. He fears that any renewed relationship with the Council will eventually return to the old patterns. I cannot say his concerns are unreasonable. They are not unreasonable, Thex agreed. The Council has given him every reason to distrust us. But I hope we can prove that change is possible. The Council that exists today is not the same one you left 8 months ago. Chancellor Vrex has resigned. The old power structure is being reformed. We have a chance to build something new. Over the next hour, other delegates arrived. Representatives from the major council species, each carrying proposals and concerns. Dr. Borod joined the human delegation, bringing technical expertise. Commander Kira, the young council officer who had fought at New Sol, came representing the military perspective. The room gradually filled with beings who genuinely wanted to find a better path forward. Thex called the meeting to order. We are here because the old system failed. It failed humanity, and ultimately it failed all of us. These negotiations are not about forcing humans back into the council. They are about creating a new framework where all species cooperate as equals. Ambassador Daesung, would you like to present Earth's position? Daesung stood and activated a display showing his proposal. Thank you, Counselor. Earth's position is straightforward. We will consider renewed cooperation under these conditions. First, full voting rights on all matters that affect humanity. Second, unrestricted access to all Council technologies and scientific databases. Third, recognition of human territorial claims in the frontier zone. Fourth, and most importantly, a formal apology for past treatment. Several Council delegates shifted uncomfortably. One, a large being with tentacles, spoke up. Ambassador, those demands are extensive. The Council has never granted such terms to any species. Exactly, Daesung replied calmly. The Council has always operated on hierarchy, with senior species having advantages over junior ones. We are proposing something different, true equality. If the Council cannot accept these terms, then humanity will continue on our independent path. We are not begging to return. We are offering partnership, but only on equal terms. Another delegate protested. But our economy still depends on certain resources and trade relationships. If we give humans everything they ask for, what leverage do we have to ensure cooperation? Dr. Bora stood. With respect, you are thinking about this wrong. You are still thinking in terms of leverage and control. That is the mindset that created this situation. Humans do not need leverage to cooperate. We cooperate when cooperation benefits everyone. The question is whether the Council is ready to treat us as partners rather than subordinates. She activated her own display. Let me show you what partnership could look like. Human innovations in energy generation could solve the Council's power crisis within 2 years. Our faster-than-light technology could be shared, making travel and trade vastly more efficient. Our adaptive shield technology could protect Council ships and stations. We have solutions to problems the Council has struggled with for generations. But we will only share these solutions with partners, not with those who see us as servants. The room fell silent as delegates absorbed this information. They had known humans possessed advanced technology, but seeing the specifics laid out made the reality undeniable. Humanity had leapfrogged Council capabilities in multiple critical areas. The balance of power had shifted permanently. Commander Kira requested permission to speak. Thex nodded. I fought against human forces at New Sol, Kira began. I witnessed their capabilities firsthand. But I also witnessed their restraint. They could have destroyed our fleet. They chose not to. Since then, I have studied human tactics and philosophy. They excel at problem-solving because they approach challenges differently than we do. They see obstacles as opportunities. She turned to address the Council delegates. I propose we stop thinking about this as humans rejoining the Council. Instead, we should create something new. A galactic compact where all species have equal voice and equal responsibility. Humans could be founding partners in this new organization, bringing their unique perspective and capabilities. Daesung looked at Kira with interest. This was more than he had hoped for. A complete restructuring of galactic governance, moving away from the hierarchical council model to something truly egalitarian. It was ambitious, perhaps impossibly so, but humans had accomplished impossible things before. Commander Kira's proposal has merit, Thex said, but it would require unanimous support from all member species. That will not be easy to achieve. Many species benefit from the current hierarchy. They will resist change. Then let them resist, Daesung said. Humanity does not need the Council anymore. We have proven we can thrive independently, but we are willing to be part of something better, something fair, If the Council species truly want human cooperation, they will support this compact. If they prefer to maintain their old hierarchies, then we part ways and each follow our own path. The negotiations continued for 3 weeks. Daesung and Thex worked closely, drafting the framework for the Galactic Compact. They established principles of equal representation, shared decision-making, and mutual benefit. They created mechanisms for dispute resolution that did not rely on military force or economic pressure. They designed a system where cooperation came from genuine partnership, not coercion. Not everyone supported the plan. 12 Council species, those who had enjoyed privileged positions in the old hierarchy, voted against it. But 35 species voted in favor, recognizing that the old system was unsustainable. Humanity had proven that independence was possible. If the Council wanted to maintain galactic unity, they needed to offer something better than dominance. They needed to offer partnership. The final signing ceremony took place in the same conference room where negotiations had begun. Daesung signed for Earth, Thex signed as interim council leader, and representatives from 35 species added their marks. The document was simple but revolutionary. The Galactic Compact established a new era of cooperation based on equality and mutual respect. As Daesung prepared to return to Earth, Thex approached him privately. "Ambassador, there is one more matter. The Council owes humanity an apology, a formal public apology for how we treated you." "I have prepared a statement." Daesung read the statement. It acknowledged every wrong, every injustice, every moment of disrespect. It did not make excuses or minimize the harm. It simply admitted the truth and expressed genuine regret. Daesung felt emotion rising in his throat. This was what he had wanted 83 years ago when he first arrived at the Council. Simple recognition. Simple respect. It had taken humanity walking away to finally receive it. "Thank you, Counselor," Daesung said quietly. "This means more than you know." "It is overdue," Thex replied. "We should have offered it decades ago. But perhaps this timing is right. Now we apologize not to subordinates but to equals. Now we begin a relationship built on honesty rather than pretense." Daesung returned to Earth a hero. The Galactic Compact was ratified by Earth's government with overwhelming support. Even Admiral Tae Yang, who had opposed negotiations, admitted that the terms were fair and the framework was solid. Humanity would maintain its independence while cooperating with alien species on matters of mutual concern. They would share technology and expertise, but as partners, not as servants. The Council chamber underwent physical renovation to reflect the new reality. The old circular arrangement with seats positioned by species rank was removed. New seating installed everyone at the same level, arranged in a pattern that emphasized equality. The chamber was renamed the Compact Assembly. Daesung was elected as one of 3 co-chairs, serving alongside Thex and a representative from the neutral worlds. On the day the Compact Assembly held its first official session, Daesung stood before the gathered delegates. He looked around the room, seeing beings from dozens of worlds all seated as equals. He thought about the long journey that had brought them here, the years of frustration, the painful decision to walk away, the months of uncertainty, and, finally, this moment of new beginning. "Members of the Galactic Compact," he began, "we stand at a turning point in galactic history.